Hi, I'm Lynn and I've come to show you how to make one of these big crochet chunky baskets. You'll need a 15mm hook and scissors. You'll need 200 meters of Bobbiny 9mm braided cord. Don't remove the label, find the end with a knot in it and just gently pull from the middle. We're going to start with the magic circle, so to do that, put your tail on the left, working yarn on the right, wrap the working yarn over to make the letter P, put your hook through the middle of the circle, pull up a loop, hold it there, then yarn over and pull through the loop. So once you've pulled that through, just pull out your tail and then that's your magic circle. Yay! So the magic circle will just close nicely when you pull on the tail. So in this round we want 8 single crochets US terms, which is UK terms double crochet. So 8 in total into the magic circle. So to do this stitch, you put your hook through the middle of the loop, yarn over, pull it through, yarn over, pull through 2. So you're putting your hook through the middle, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Don't worry, this will happen. There we go. So that's 1, 2, 3 so far. I'm just about to do my 8th stitch. So yarn over, pull through 2. And then we're going to join with an invisible join. So to do that, you pull up your loop high, pop your hook through from back to front, pull the loop through, and then just flatten it out. Just make sure it's nice and straight, and then you put your hook through. You want it to go through the back of those 2 strands there. So if you find it from the back, you can pop your finger through and then poke your hole through there. That's the easiest way of doing it. So you pop your hook through there, yarn over and pull through, pull that loop through. So that's your front loop, and then you attach the loop from earlier at the back onto the back of the hook. So you'll have 1 and then 2. And then all you do is yarn over and pull through both of those. And that's your invisible slip stitch join. Now we're going to start with a waistcoat stitch. So that goes through this section here. You can see my finger poking through. You put your crochet hook through there and it pokes through the 2 strands at the back. So if you pop your crochet hook through that section there, and then you'll see it's gone through the 2 strands at the back, then you know it's perfect. Yarn over and pull up the loop, and then you yarn over and pull through again. So in round 2 we're doing 2 waistcoat stitches in every stitch. You don't count the invisible slip stitch join as a stitch. So we started with 8 stitches. By the end of this there'll be 16. So if we continue round going through that V section and do the waistcoat stitch, 2 waistcoat stitches in each stitch around. You can see there where my finger's poking through, that's where you're putting the crochet hook through. It takes a while to find it, but once you find it, it's the same throughout the whole basket, apart from a couple of rows. So you will master this. Yay, we're at the end of round 2 and we need to do the invisible join. There's just one last stitch to finish before we do the invisible slip stitch join. Perfect. So what we need to do is pull up that loop Then poke our crochet hook through the top 2 loops there from the back to the front. Loop the loop over and pull it through. Straighten out your circle. And now identify where you're going to put your crochet hook. So it wants to go through the back of there. So poke it through the front, making sure it goes through the 2 strands at the back. Then you yarn over and pull up a loop. So you'll have a loop at the front and then you'll have the loop at the back that you've already pulled through. So attach that loop at the back and then yarn over and go through both. And that's joined, and then it's also started the next round. So for the next round, we're going to work 2 waistcoat stitches in the first stitch and then 1 in the next stitch. So we're going to do 2 in this one. So this is a repeat, this pattern repeats around. It's 2 in one stitch, then it's 1 in the next. So we'll end up adding another 8 stitches onto this round, so that will be 16, 24. So yeah, it was 8 and then 16, and now we should have 24 by the end of this row. So we want 2 waistcoat stitches in this one. There we go. 1 in that one. There we are. 2 in the next one. One in this one. There we go, and then we'll repeat all the way around and meet you at the end. Okay, so this is the end of round 3. 1 more stitch to go, and then we'll do the invisible slip stitch join again. So hopefully we're getting used to this invisible slip stitch join. So take your hook out, pull up the loop, go take the hook from back to front, loop that over your hook and pull it through from the front to the back. Then straighten up your circle. Find the position that you need to put your crochet hook into, which is the V, slightly to the right. Poke it through, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then attach the loop that you have at the back that you pulled through before onto the hook. And then yarn over, go through 2. So that's joined the rounds and it's taking you up to the next level. Okay, for round 4, we're going to put 1 waistcoat stitch in each of the next 5 stitches. And in the 6th stitch, we're going to do 2 waistcoat stitches. And that will be the repeat around this round. So we'll do a waistcoat stitch in each of the first 5 stitches, and then we'll do an increase into the 6th stitch. So by the end of this one, we're increasing by 4. We'll have 28 stitches. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches. So in the 6th one, we're going to do 2. So 2 waistcoat stitches into this one. And then 5 stitches, well, 1 waistcoat stitch in the next 5 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, and 5. And then we want 2 in the next one. So we'll put 2 in there. And then we'll continue round 1 waistcoat in the next 5 stitches, and then 2 waistcoat stitches in the next stitch. So we'll continue round and meet you at the end. Okay, so we're at the end of this round. We're going to do the invisible slip stitch join. Pull up your loop high, put your hook through from the back to the front, pull that loop through to the back. Find where you want to put your hook, which is the V to the right of you, of the loop. Poke your hook through, yarn over and pull that through. And then attach your loop that's at the back. Then yarn over, go through both. So there we are. I hope you're getting used to these now. Great, so we're on to round 5 now. So in this round, we'll be doing an increase in the first stitch. So we'll do 2 waistcoat stitches into there. And then in the next 6 stitches, we'll only be doing 1 waistcoat stitch in each. And then after that, we'll do 2 waistcoat stitches, then another 6 stitches with just 1 waistcoat stitch. So that will be our repeat around. And at the end, we'll have 32 stitches in this round. Okay, so we're doing 2 in this one. Just a reminder again, don't count your invisible slip stitch join as a stitch. So we've done 2 waistcoat stitches in there. So then we'll go ahead in the next 6 stitches, we'll do 1 in each. So that's the next 6, and then the one after that we'll do 2, and we'll repeat it all the way around. Okay, we're at the end of this round, so you can just flatten out your circle at this stage because it does curve when you're crocheting. So we'll do the last stitch in here, and then we'll do an invisible slip stitch to join. Okay, so we're pulling up that loop, we're attaching it onto the hook and pulling it through to the back. Then we'll find the V to put our hook through. We will yarn over, it's gone through the 2 loops at the back. We will yarn over and go through there, and then attach the loop that's at the back onto there, and then yarn over and go through both. Perfect. So this is how you count how many rounds you're doing. We've done 5 so far, we're on our 6th round now. In the 6th round, we're going to do the 1 waistcoat stitch in the first 4 stitches. Remembering not to count the invisible slip stitch as a stitch when we're counting. So that's 2 done. 3 waistcoat stitches done. And then 4. And after that, we're going to do 2 waistcoat stitches in the next stitch. Okay, that's nearly done. So 2 waistcoat stitches in there. After this, we're going to do 1 waistcoat stitch in the next 7 stitches. And then we'll do 2 in the 8th stitch. So we're increasing by 4 again this round. We will have 36 by the end of the round. We're going to repeat then 1 waistcoat stitch in 7 stitches and then 2 waistcoat stitches in the following stitch. At the end of this round, you'll have 3 stitches to work into, and that's because we started by working 4. Okay, so just pull out enough yarn and make cord and make sure you're not pulling on it while you're working. So after we've done the 7, we'll do 2 stitches in the next, 2 waistcoat stitches in the next stitch. And then we'll do 1 waistcoat stitch in the next 7 after this, followed by 2 waistcoat stitches in the next stitch. So we'll repeat that and meet you at the end. I've gone ahead and joined this one, so we're now on round 7. We're going to do 1 waistcoat stitch in the first 2 stitches, and then we're going to do 2 waistcoat stitches in the next stitch. So 1, 2, and then in the 3rd stitch we're going to do an increase, so we'll put 2 waistcoat stitches in there. Okay, so that's our increase there. After that, we're going to do 1 waistcoat stitch in the next 5 stitches. And then we'll increase in the next stitch. So we'll do 5 stitches of waistcoat stitch and then an increase, and we'll repeat that all the way round. But you will end by just doing 3 waistcoat stitches. And that's because we started with 2 stitches at the beginning of the round. So we'll continue round with that repeat. So 5 waistcoat stitches and then an increase by doing 2 waistcoat stitches in the same stitch. So we'll just continue counting and going around, and I'll meet you at the end. So we'll end row 7 by doing 1 waistcoat stitch in the last 3 stitches, and we will have 42 stitches in total, and that's not including the invisible slip stitch join stitch. So make sure you're counting your stitches as you go around. So once we've done the 3 stitches here, we'll just do the invisible join. And then we're on our last row of the base. So I'm just doing the invisible join as we have done all the way around. So there we go. Pull that yarn through, attach the loop from the back on your hook, yarn over, go through 2. And you can never tell it's a join. It's such a great trick, that one. Okay, so in round 8, this is a really easy round. We're just going to do 1 waistcoat stitch all the way around. So this is the last row of the base. So you just want to work 1 waistcoat stitch in each stitch around. but when we do the join, we'll do it a bit differently this time. So don't go ahead and do the invisible slip stitch join. It's a slightly different one as we move on to the walls. So one all the way round, and I shall meet you at the end. This is the last part of the base now, so we're going to do a join slightly differently. So twist it towards you and pop the cord on top of your circle. That's the part you want to see in the bottom of your basket. So we're going to pop the hook through those loops and then pop your loop onto that hook and pull it upwards that way. And then in this round, we're going to be working through the back loops only, and this is how we start the walls. So they're the top loops at the top there, so they're the back loops. So just go through those loops. Okay, so I'm just tightening this stitch up now to make sure it's tidy. And because we're going through the back loops only, I'm going to pop my hook under that loop there and through the loop that was already there, yarn over, and I'm going to go through 2. So that's the first stitch to start with. Okay, so then we'll go into all of those stitches all the way around, just going through that top loop, which is also called the back loop only. So there we go. So we're going to do US single crochets into here, which are UK double crochets. So we're not doing the waistcoat stitch, we're just going under this top loop only. So this stitch is called back loop only. And there you'll see that the walls are starting to form. So we'll do this all the way around, and then we'll revert to doing the invisible slip stitch join as we did with the base. That's the only time we'd use this different slip stitch join. So I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so we're at the end of row 9 and we've gone through the back loops only all the way around. We just have one left to do. And then we will show you how to join with the invisible slip stitch join. You should have 42 stitches in total, excluding the invisible slip stitch join. Okay, so I've pulled my loop up high. I'm going to pop my hook through there from the centre of the basket out. I am going to pop the loop over the hook, and then I pulled it through to the other side. And then I'm going to find, I'm just pulling that, making that loop a bit smaller because it was a bit long. So I'm going to find the section I need to poke my crochet hook through. I'm going to poke it through there. Then I'm going to yarn over and pull up a loop. Pop the other loop at the back onto the crochet hook, and then yarn over and go through both. And there you'll see the invisible join, and it's gone up one row as well. Not a good angle actually. So that's your invisible slip stitch join. There we go. Okay, so the basket gets really easy from this point. There's 2 colour changes, but all we do now is work around the basket and do 1 waistcoat stitch in each stitch around. So we do 2 rounds of this colour. So this is the second round, because we did the first round before, and then this is the second one. And then after that, we're going to change colours. So I'll meet you at the end and show you how to do that. Okay, so now we're going to change colour. But before we join this together, we're going to make sure we've got our new colour ready. So I'll pop that there. So we lift up the loop as usual. And we go through from pull the loop through as usual. That's a bit twisted. And then as we go through this time, we're going to pull up with the new colour. We're going to pull this up. So the new colour's in front. Attach the loop that we pulled through earlier. And then find the end, yarn over with the new colour and pull through two. We will weave in these ends after. Okay, so we're going to continue round doing one waistcoat stitch in each stitch around and joining with the invisible slip stitch join. We want to do 9 rounds in total. Okay, so I'm at the end of row 19 and we're just about to do the last stitch here. And then we're going to, this is where we do the colour change. So we will pop a hook in there and loop that through to the back. Then put our hook through here like we would normally, and this is where we add the new colour. So we will attach the new colour and pull that through. Just hook it round your hook. Pull your new colour up and then grab the loop from the back and put it on the hook, and then yarn over. Let's find the there we go. Yarn over and pull through both. So that's how you change colours. Okay, so I've done 19 stitches and now we're going to do the handle again. So to do the handle, we're literally going to chain 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've chained 6. We're going to skip 2 and then we're going to join it here by just doing a waistcoat stitch. So you just go in like that, yarn over and pull through both there. So that's the second handle, and then on the next row we go over it again. Okay, so we are finishing off by doing 10 waistcoat stitches and then we will join here as usual. So we need 10 in this section. We've already got 1 here where we joined the handle. So we need 9 more. So I'll meet you at the end where we're going to join. And then we'll do our last row. Okay, we're in row 20 now and we're going to start making the handles. So first of all, we're going to do 9 waistcoat stitches, remembering that we're not counting this as a stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I love it when it changes colour. It's such a nice contrast, isn't it? 6, 7, 8, and 9. And the handles are really easy, so you don't need to worry about those. So that's number 9. Okay, so now all we're going to do to make the handles is chain 6. So yarn over, pull through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then we're going to skip 2. So we're going to skip that one and that one. So just to, all we're doing is the next waistcoat stitch, which goes in here. So yarn over and pull through 2, and that's joined there. Okay, so the next set of waistcoat stitches, this was the first one. we are doing 19 including that one. So another 18 to go. So I'll meet you at the end of this 18 and we'll do the next handle. Okay, so I've done 19 stitches and now we're going to do the handle again. So to do the handle, we're literally going to chain 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've chained 6. We're going to skip 2 and then we're going to join it here by just doing a waistcoat stitch. So you just go in like that, yarn over and pull through both there. So that's the second handle, and then on the next row we go over it again. Okay, so we are finishing off by doing 10 waistcoat stitches and then we will join here as usual. So we need 10 in this section. We've already got 1 here where we joined the handle. So we need 9 more. So I'll meet you at the end where we're going to join. And then we'll do our last row. Okay, so last stitch in here. And then we will join as usual. So we'll pull up the loop, pop our hook in there, pull it through, go through the middle of the V, yarn over, pull through, and then we will pop the loop on the back of the hook, yarn over, go through 2. So that is the last invisible join that we're going to do. Okay, so we're going to do 9 waistcoat stitches to take us to the handle. So I will meet you at the start of the handle. So if you just do 9, that doesn't include the invisible slip stitch. So I'll see you at the end after you've done 9. This is number 9. And then all we're going to do now is go into these top loops and do slip stitches all the way along. So there should be 6 loops, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if you put your hook through there, yarn over and pull through again. So you're just going to slip stitch 1, so that's 2, and I go through the top loop, 3, 4, 5, oh, why can't I do that? There we go. Let's turn it around. And then the last one, so that's 6. And it makes this nice detail here, which is lovely. So that's the handle. Okay, so now we're going to do waistcoat stitch. So 1, we're going to do 19 of these. 1, 2, 3. So this will take us to the other handle. I will meet you when we get there. Okay, this is number 19. So we're going to pop our hook through there and do a slip waistcoat stitch as usual. And then we will go into the top loops of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we will do a slip stitch. So 1, 2, move the desk out of the way, 3, 4, 2 more, 5, 6, and I really love the edge it creates here. It's a really lovely edge for this basket. Okay, so we're now on the home run. We have 10 stitches, waistcoat stitches to do. So starting this one, and then I'll meet you at the end of this row. So if you do 10, it'll take you to the end of this round. And I will meet you at the end. Here we are at the very last stitch. Yay! So all we do is a waistcoat stitch in here, And then we are going to cut the yarn, the cord I should say. I don't know, I've left, what is it, 4 inches or so? Far too much, I don't need any more than that. So we're going to pull this out of here. So what we want to do is put a hook through here, pull that yarn through, put a hook under this loop and pull that through, and we'll create an invisible, a false stitch. So you can see it looks like a false stitch. Here's me just weaving in some ends. I'm using a crochet hook because it is much easier. And here it is, the finished basket. Voila!